Facebook. How are you doing today? It's Sunday. Pandemic Ponderings over here at Comic Spots. Welcome. And today on the Comic Spot, we have somebody I've fallen in love with in a very short period of time. She's such a sweetheart and gives great advice. You know how it is when you don't ask for advice, and most people you want to just tell them to shut up. Well, not her. She knows the kind of advice to give. She was helping so much yesterday with the internet stuff. She's a stand-up comic and comedy show producer in Long Island, and she's the host of an online show called In Bed with Comics. That sounds delish. She's the creator and host of My Holistic Nutrition Show. Oh my gosh, holistic and nutrition. And the fresh sleeve of bariatrics. Oh my gosh, that airs on the North Shore Television in Roslyn, New York. I don't even remember a Roslyn since Carter's.
Oh wow, yeah, it's there.
Hi,
it's definitely there.
Kristen Tinsley. How are you?
Thank you, Linda. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
You betcha. Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
What's going on? Talk to me about New York and the pandemic and the civil unrest that.
It's kind of sort of going back to normal. I'm seeing a lot more people out there now than I did before. So a lot of people are hanging out in parks, they're going to beaches, but everything's pretty much, still shut down here. New York City is not going into phase 2 till July. So, the comedy clubs and stuff like that and all the entertainment stuff is still shut down. But we just had an online comedy show last night. I produced a show called Comics on the Couch. And I had a really great, excellent lineup, and the show went great. Everybody had a great time. So little by little, we're slowly adapting to this is the way life's going to be. And I'm still filming my show, The Fresh Bariatrics, right here in my living room, and it just airs. I just send it and it airs. So you got to love technology. This has happened in the 90s. I don't know what would have happened.
Talk to me about your early life, finding out that you have a knack for the comedy field.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I've always loved show business. I'm a writer also. I write screenplays and I write stories and stuff. So I kind of just always have, just to try to I've always had the mentality of getting your foot in the door. So comedy was one of those things that can definitely do that. But I guess I would have to say, growing up, I moved around a lot, and I was always changing schools and stuff, and meeting new people, and kind of always being the new person. The best way to identify with people is by making them laugh. So I always do just to be funny. So I knew that was the safest thing that I could do and I could get away with, because you're always in uncomfortable situations, and especially when you're a new kid. So you just laugh your way out of it, and that's how I knew. So yeah.
I understand that. I understand. So in your life, you developed your comedy to the point where you could do it professionally. Talk to me about that.
Well, I'm still working my way up to the professional part. Every time I do comedy, it's a learning experience. So I've been working with different comics that I've met along the way, and taking this person's advice here and that person's advice there, and just seeing how I can kind of put it all together, because I didn't go to a comedy college or a class. I watch a lot of professional comics on stage and just try to figure out how I can make it my own, because somebody said that education is the death of progress when it comes to stuff like this, because if you spend so much time focusing on the actual craft of it and trying to get it right like everybody else, no, just dive in there and figure out what you're going to do. So eventually one day I'll be able to get there, but I'm still on my path and I'm enjoying that. So cool. Yeah. I did not hear a word you said.
Let's say you had to give up everything but one facet of comedy. What would you hold on to?
If I had to give up one thing about comedy, what would I hold on to?
If you had to give up everything but one facet of comedy, what would you hold on to? What would you give up and why?
Oh, that's a tough question to answer. I don't know. If I had to give up one thing, it
No,
would
if you had to give up a bunch of stuff and only hold on to one facet of comedy, what one facet would you hold on to, or what would you give up if you had to? Like either way, what would you give up? What would you hold on to, and why? Because you're doing a lot.
Oh, if I had to give up everything else, well, that would be easy. I mean, because I would definitely hold on to my writing skills. That's one thing. So because if you can write, you can do anything. Because writers are the creators of the universe you see around you. And if I had to give up one facet of comedy, probably the drinking.
That's a good one, Kristen.
Yeah, I would give up the drinking because that always kind of gets in the way of everything, and it's expensive. So, yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah, as long as I can write, I can do anything. So it's cool.
I'm not clear on when exactly you went up on stage to do comedy. What year was that?
It was 2 years ago this summer. Yeah, about 2 years ago. I started doing it probably late summer of 2 years. This would be my second year doing it. Yeah, yeah.
I know Teresa up there in Long Island. I literally have to pull out my earplugs to talk, and I forget. Teresa Canastraci up there. She
Yeah,
said
she's a
that
very
you're
good
her
friend of mine.
girl.
Yeah, she is. She's a very, very good friend of mine. Teresa, yes, she is. She's a great person. Hmm.
What do you have in the works for after the pandemic that people, you have 3 things that I posted on here, that those shows you've created and host, and the
Yeah.
Strong Island television. But do you have, I mean, people who write and all that in comedy are multitaskers. You always have 14 other things up your sleeve.
15 usually, yeah. Well, I have a screenplay that is being optioned. So I'm kind of like sort of like putting the screws on that a little bit to make sure that that's gonna go through. I have a book that I'm writing, so that goes along with my nutrition, and it goes along with my journey of helping people to live a more holistic lifestyle, and basically working my way into the obesity advocacy for people who need help with that, with certain medical conditions and health and stuff. So I'll be working in that direction, and also using my comedy to do that. So I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of things. I'm going to keep going with In Bed with Comics. I'm going to keep doing that. I have a podcast, whatever comes to mind. I have a lot of stuff going on, but it's so much more manageable when I'm home and I'm not working, because normally I work 2 jobs. So it's not easy to keep up with all of that, but you just, you have to do it. So
What are your
I'm
other
glad to have
jobs?
the hip. I work for a school district, and I'm a school bus driver. And then I was helping somebody to take care of some dogs. So I was constantly going all day long, and then comedy. Yeah, yeah, dogs are fun.
What's your favorite kind of dog?
Oh, Rottweilers. I love Rottweilers. They're so cute. I love them. I never get any Rottweilers, but yeah, if I had to pick a dog, definitely be Rottweiler.
Guess what
Yeah.
my favorite dog is?
If I had to guess what your favorite dog is, I don't know. Which branch of the military did you serve in?
Army.
Oh, you're in the Army. All right. So you probably like German Shepherds.
Nope, I'm Jewish.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm half Jewish, so I don't know. Probably a Springer Spaniel. I don't know.
Can you can you say something?
I'm saying something. There you go. You have to unplug it.
What was your reply?
I didn't hear what you said. I said a Spaniel, like one of those like Cocker Spaniels. Is that what? Yeah.
Can't hear me, can you? Can you do me a favor and you
Sure.
talk for a while, because I'm terrible at this in and out earplug thing, and tell us about the silly things, the dumb things, the scary things that you've seen, ups and downs since you've been around comedy. Tell us some stories.
Oh Jesus. I actually haven't had anything. I mean, there's been some scary things that have happened. Nothing like, like too crazy. I haven't, I just tend not to like get involved in any of that type of stuff. But the comedy scene on Long Island is actually very fun. We have comedy, comics that come from all over the place. So you're constantly meeting new people. There's a constant, wash and wave of people coming in and out. And I've never really had anything too crazy happen. I mean, there's a couple of incidents that come to mind, but I'm not going to bring those up just in case I get sued by either one of those nutcases that caused the big drama on Long Island. But yeah, I mean, the ups are definitely like discovering like new comics that are out there and putting on the shows, because I like to do a lot of theme shows. I do a lot of all female comedy shows. The first one I ever did was called Vagisilly. And then, so I usually do one or two of those per year. And then I also do another show for male comics called The Fat Version. And we made comic commercials is what I call them, for advertisements for the show. And we did all kinds of crazy stuff. Like I did a spoof on The Sixth Sense called The Fat Sense. I did The Feminine Fairies. I mean, and I love doing stuff like that because I like to put on big productions. Because when I was in college, I went to Hunter College, and I was a film major, and creative writing and media production, film, whatever you want to call it. Film is my absolute 100% first love. I love that. So I like to put on big shows, and the up is watching the audience come in because they think they're just going to get a regular show, and then they sit down and they see like drag queens come out, or just crazy costumes and makeup and all kinds of different stuff. So I look forward to those ups. And the only down part that I would say to comedy is sometimes not getting feedback from people when you're up there on stage and when you do a joke, because everybody's running, everybody's riding on the same horse going towards that finish line. So nobody wants to say, oh my God, you're so great, or oh my God, you're so funny. Nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to give you constructive criticism, because I think that they feel like, they're going to boost you ahead, but that's just not the way that it goes. So I feel like, if a comic asks you, like, listen, how am I doing? We need the feedback, especially when you're dealing and you're standing there in a room and you're just talking to other comics. You're talking in front of them, you're doing your joke, and they're just staring at you blankly like, come on, does anybody need that? No, you can applaud, you can laugh, you can say, hey, I thought this joke was great, or hey, I thought that this was good, or this could be better. And I feel like it's getting there with a lot of the comedy community, but we're not quite there yet. So that's definitely a downer, and that's what kind of, so yeah.
I love that. That's great. That's good feedback. Speaking of feedback, so Kristen,
Yeah.
is there anything that you have not, any place that you'd like? When are you going to know you have arrived? Is there any certain thing you want to accomplish where you go, you know what? I arrived.
Wow, I never really thought about that. I never thought about that. Ooh. Okay. I will know when I've arrived when I get cast in my first leading role in a major motion picture. then I will know that I have arrived officially. Yeah, that would be, yeah. And like something like that's like really, like a really big funny role that people are gonna watch and they're gonna be like, oh, that girl's really funny. Then I'll know. Then I'll know. But then I'll also know that I have arrived when I publish my first book. And then I'll also know that I've arrived when I get on, the stage of Caroline's in New York City. So I have all these different things that I'll know, but definitely getting cast in a motion picture is definitely one of them. That's just to bring everything full circle. Yeah.
I think that I have worn out this microphone and now it's not working in any position. It's like a really bad
Girl, you need my help with the technology. You definitely need. I'm gonna tell you, about. Actually, we'll talk later. I'll send you a link to get you a decent microphone that you can use, podcasting microphones that plug right into the computer, and you'll be able to use those. Listen, the technology's out there. All this stuff is out there to be able to enhance all this type of stuff. And listen, wherever you start, whatever you got, you keep moving, and you just keep going forward and keep growing and learning from there. So you got to work with what
definitely
you got.
Growing. I'm definitely growing. I'm going through growing pains.
I would like to. So you do stand-up comedy also? Do you do stand-up comedy also?
It's on my YouTube, comedian Linda Marcus Smith.
Right, I'm gonna go check that out. So since I'm on your show, now you have to come on my show in bed with comics.
Okay, yes.
I would love to have you. I would love to have you and interview you and talk to you about it. But I'm definitely gonna check that out and watch it. It's gonna be fun.
You meet with me like on FaceTime or private Zoom and explain to me what the heck I need to do next, because I'm doing the best I can.
Absolutely, I will definitely help you out with that, and tell you how you can definitely pick. I mean, it's not you, it's the internet. It's the internet. That's the problem, and that's a very frustrating problem to have. It's awful, but it'll work out.
Yes, you've been so awesome. But before we go, Kristen Tinsley, would you mind telling people how to hang in there in a crazy world and a mixed up and hateful world, and any inspiration you have?
Yes. I will tell you from a nutritionist, a holistic nutritionist standpoint, if you want to calm the mind and body, you must eat healthy and drink water every day and spend some time with yourself, meditating and keeping that calm and keep the balance of the Zen, because that is going to help you get through this. And let me tell you something about everything that's going on in this crazy world. Sometimes if it's too much for you, you just have to shut it off and not listen to it. We know what's out there. We know what's going on. But if you want to change anything about this, what's going on, I want you to change your thinking. And it starts with you. And it starts with the words that you say in your mind. Every person you meet, every single day, say, oh, stop with the descriptions of people: tall, fat, skinny, black, white, stop. Human. That's it. Human. I know all Black lives matter, all lives matter, but just human. That's it. Keep going with that all day long. That human made a mistake. That human said this to me. That human did that. When you treat people like human beings and you treat them with respect, we will have world peace. Hopefully, one day. And work out. Work out. You have to work out every day. Work out that aggression. Instead of going on Facebook and all this stuff and writing all this negative stuff, work out, lift some weights, take care of your body, take care of you, and do what you can to bring that positive energy and radiate that throughout the world. And hopefully, you never know, it could reach somebody and it can make a big difference. So that's my advice.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being on here and taking time. Lovely.
You're welcome. And thank you.
Now I feel like I know you better.
You do, and you'll definitely get to know me better. When you're free later, hit me up and we'll talk, because I know you're busy. I know you got a lot of comics to talk to, but thank you for having me on, and definitely
come on
We'll talk later.
You can come on anytime for 5 minutes to announce anything too. I'll fit you in.
Awesome. I like that because there's going to be a lot of shows coming up now. I'm jumping into fences and people's backyards to do comedy shows. And I can't believe this is my life.
Thank you so much. You're awesome.
You're welcome, Linda.
Bye, Chris.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody's